Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more relationship stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting a like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and don't forget you can also support by being a member by clicking that join button down below or clicking the link in the description and joining over on Patreon. Never any pressure to do so, but always appreciated. And let's crack on with today's first story. And today's first story comes from Augmented Throwaway, who says, my 32 male fiancé, 29 female, got breast enhancement surgery and I am no longer attracted to her. And this does come with an update. As the title says, my girlfriend and fiancé of 2.5 years recently got breast enhancement surgery. She'd been saying she wanted to do it ever since we first began dating, and while I expressed to her I didn't think it was necessary, I loved the way she looked before. I always said I would support whatever decision she made because it's her body and she's the one who has to live in it. About a year ago, her mother died after a long battle with cancer in which she actually went into remission after a double mastectomy. But then the cancer eventually came back and metastasized to her pancreas. It was a horribly painful and unpleasant experience for everyone in her family. I'd met my girlfriend after her mum went into remission and after the surgery, so I wasn't there with her for the first battle, which from what I heard was very traumatic and painful in its own way. When her mother passed, she inherited a fairly large sum of money. Nothing crazy, but enough to put a down payment on a house and finally pay for the surgery she wanted. When she told me she had made the appointment to meet with a plastic surgeon, I was supportive, but again, reinforced that I loved the way she looked now and suggested that maybe her desire to do this now was connected to her grief with her mother passing. She pretty much dismissed that notion since she said she had wanted to get implants since she was in high school, before her mum ever had cancer or a mastectomy. Fair enough. Fast forward about 6 months ago to the surgery and it goes without a hitch. Because she was recovering for about a month, so I didn't really see the finished product right away. And then when I did, they were much bigger than I expected. She told me that they were still swelling and that they would go down and it would look more natural. And the swelling did go down, but they've never really looked natural to me. Maybe because I was just so accustomed to the way they looked before the surgery that I'm having trouble seeing them any other way. For the past few months, our sex life was okay, but it definitely has dwindled a bit. We couldn't really have sex while she was recovering, and after she was feeling up to it, we compensated a bit by having lots of sex, but it was still before I had an idea what they looked like, since when we had sex, she would be in a sports bra and / baggy t-shirt, and that stayed on during. And I was very cautious not to grab them or anything, since they were still tender for so long. Eventually she completely recovered, and immediately I wasn't thrilled, but I lied and said I thought they looked great. Thing is, I don't hate them or anything. The part where I started losing attraction to her has been that since she got the surgery, she gets a lot more attention from random strangers, which I've never minded. She got attention from strangers in the past too. She's a beautiful woman now and before, but since the surgery, she seems so much more receptive to the attention that it's just become a total turn-off for me. I didn't initially bring it up because I thought maybe I was just being paranoid, and even if I wasn't, it would likely be regarded that way and dismissed either way. But eventually I started to make little comments here and there when she would flirt back with the delivery guy or whatever. Nothing terrible, but like, not sure he needs a tip after all, or something. She got annoyed, and eventually I did bring up my discomfort, and she did what I assumed she would, which was accusing me of being paranoid and reading into things and saying that what I thought was happening was not. And then a couple of weeks ago, I found out that while out with her girlfriend, she was convinced to enter a wet t-shirt contest. A friend of mine happened to be at the bar they were at and just sent me a text telling me how great my girlfriend's tits looked. He was joking, and later she framed it that way because he was uncomfortable letting me know, but knew he needed to let me know in case I wasn't aware. When I confronted her about it, she didn't understand why I was upset, which is just symptomatic of this entire personality change she seemed to have undergone since the procedure. I tried to explain that if she had told me that was happening, I probably would have been fine, but the secrecy and just her general dismissiveness of my concerns and enjoying the extra attention was hurtful. She seemed to think that because she won the wet t-shirt contest, I should be okay with it and that I'm lucky to have her. This simply isn't the person I fell in love with. I know I might be overreacting a bit, but I didn't love how the surgery turned out to begin with, and now this entire personality shift has been jarring enough to make me lose interest in being intimate with her at all. For the past 2 weeks, we've only had sex 2 times, and I've even had to reject her advances. I try to be as nice as possible, but when I tell her I'm not in the mood now, she gets angry and frustrated and kind of throws mini tantrums. Also very new. Like she thinks she's doing me a favour by even wanting to have sex with me, and I am now somehow ungrateful. I've had some of my friends, male and female alike, mimic this kind of sentiment when I've tried to discuss it, hence bringing it to Reddit. I believe the person I fell in love with is still in there somewhere, but I might just be kidding myself. I'm at the point where I want to suggest couples counselling, but the one time I remotely touched on the subject, she was not receptive to the idea. I do not know what else to do though. She's like a completely different person now, and I don't know that I like that person very much. And before we move to the update, we're going to start straight away with Hygor on this one, who says, and quotes, "She said I was lucky to have her. She was doing me a favour by wanting to have sex with me." Then he goes on to say, "Oh hell no, fuck that shit. She's getting more and more full of herself, especially with the attention of others. I've read many stories like this, and let me tell you, it never ends well. My advice, break up. You guys clearly aren't compatible anymore, and eventually you'll start resenting each other. End it now before it gets worse." Miss Beehive says you should move on. You are no longer compatible. Sucks, but it is what it is. You aren't going to change her back now, and it's okay to not like the person she has become. Move on. Rather Not Say says, so this doesn't seem to have come up, but did your girlfriend's personality start shifting after her mother's death? It's possible that your girlfriend, in the midst of her grief and possible realization of her own mortality, has undergone a big shift in her thinking, and it has come out in her behavior. She underwent a major physical change, which she's wanted a while, got noticeably more positive reception to her looks. It's possible the boob job was to make her feel better after everything, and the positive reactions have boosted her confidence when she was feeling very low. Not only that, but presumably she might have had a complex about her boobs already, making it even more of a boost. She may consider her boob job as emotional support after a loss, and the very thing she needed. Her mum had lost her breast to cancer, and your girlfriend's risk of getting it is higher due to the genetic predisposition. Double mastectomies, while life-saving, have been known to be incredibly traumatic, and there are reports of women feeling less like a woman, scarred and sort of broken. It's a very necessary process, and I'd recommend anyone who needs it to get it, but it's probable that your girlfriend saw this and possibly saw her mother grieving over. She may have a very complex relationship with her own boobs, feeling that they need to be out and proud while she still can. From what it looks like, your girlfriend is being defensive about her boob job and is being hurtful towards you. She is not doing you a favour, and you shouldn't be grateful your own girlfriend wants to have sex with you. That's a normal expectation. It's possible that she's frustrated you aren't as into her boobs, which are important to her, and she's lashing out. The problem isn't the boobs, it's how she thinks of her boobs and her behaviour. I'll talk to her and point out that the real problem isn't her boobs, it's how she reacts with her new boobs. Of course, you'd want to know if she was in a wet t-shirt contest, as it's pretty sexual, and if someone is flirting with her because of the fact that you are her boyfriend. But the way she's acting makes you feel as though you're unworthy of her attention, or that she doesn't need to bother being open and communicating about your relationship, including sexual things, acts, and interests, which is crucial. And you need someone who wants you for you, not makes you think you should be lucky and pities you. It sounds like she has a complex about her boobs, and you should focus on her behaviour when talking to her, recognising she likes them and that they are important to her, but her defensive behaviour makes you feel like she's pitying you and making you feel bad about the relationship. And one more from Thrall, who says you owe it to her, after 2.5 years together, to discuss first before making a decision. Write down everything you want to say to her and make sure she understands that while she may dismiss your concerns, they are still valid to you. Make sure she understands that it's her attitude and actions that are pushing you away, not necessarily the implants. Good luck, sir. So Update says, first, I want to thank everyone for their helpful and reassuring insight. After the post, I was still uncertain as what to do. I didn't want to spring anything on her, as I felt from her perspective it might seem like my frustrations and concerns were coming out of nowhere unless she first provoked something, and I didn't want to bring up the past as much time has already gone by. but because it felt petty of me to do so. I guess what I didn't realize at the time is I'd become pretty distant and terse with her, which she brought up pretty quickly as well, as the fact that I was no longer initiating sex with her and completely unreceptive to any advances she made. I told her flat out that I felt her personality had completely changed and I was having a lot of second thoughts about the relationship. She got very upset and asked me why I'd not mentioned anything. I told her that I had tried multiple times and she was completely dismissive of it and accusing me of being jealous or paranoid. I asked her when have I ever been either of those things throughout our relationship, and she had to admit that I have never been jealous or paranoid person in the past. While she admitted that, she still said she felt her personality was still the same and that while she may not know the reason for my perception, it was still wrong. She apologized for accusing me of being jealous but said I'm wrong. It was weird because it felt like it suddenly got turned on me and that it was somehow all on me. I was pretty stunned and felt like again she was being dismissive of my point of view. She said she didn't know what else to say. We agreed to put a pin in it for the night and I was kind of speechless and talking to her felt like a bit like talking to a wall anyhow. That night she tried to initiate again and I said no and kind of snapped at her. I was quite flummoxed and said something to the effect, "Wow, you didn't hear a fucking word I said tonight, did you?" And apparently that broke her. She became so aggressive and hostile in a way I had never experienced before. She was hysterical, screaming, thrashing, throwing the pillows and bedding around wildly, knocked over a lamp that broke and that didn't slow her down. Then she started pushing me, telling me to get the fuck out and that she never wanted to see me again. At first, I was resistant, pleading with her to calm down, but she was just getting more and more aggressive, so I just grabbed my wallet and keys and ran out to my car in my socks and boxers. I could still hear her slamming doors from inside of my car, outside of our house, her house. I just drove around all night thinking. I was shaking, I was genuinely scared. I was angry. I think I was in shock. I didn't have my phone, so I couldn't call a friend or my parents to go to their house. I didn't want to show up in the middle of the night under these circumstances anyway. I just drove around all night and didn't sleep. I waited until around 8 AM to go back to the house, which was around when she left to work, but her car was still there. So I drove and got breakfast and coffee at a drive-thru. When I came back an hour later, she eventually left. By this point, I'm feeling pretty calm. I go inside to grab some of my things and the entire living room is just a mess. Chairs tipped over, the coffee table completely shifted out of place, a plant ripped from a pot with dirt everywhere. You can tell she tried to clean it up a little, but didn't get very far. I went to our bedroom where my phone and clothes were, and in the middle of the hallway on the way to the bedroom was a pile of all my things, including my phone, which had a broken screen. Fortunately, it was still functioning, so I called into work and spent the next 4 to 5 hours packing up a bunch of my stuff and loading it into my car. I called a friend of mine and drove over to his house. He said I could crash with him for a bit while I figure out what to do next. Later that day, I sent her a text saying we should talk, and she responded there was nothing to talk about and that she thinks it would be better for both of us if I find somewhere else to stay for the time being. I explained that I already had done so and was staying with my friend, and then she went radio silent. She didn't respond to that or any follow-up text I sent. About a week after all of this, she sent me a text that simply said I need to figure out a time to come and pick up the rest of my things. I asked if she would be there so we could talk, and she said she had nothing to say to me and I should come get the rest of my things when she isn't there. So I tried calling her and she didn't answer. I sent her a text asking her if she was just done with us, and then she said, "Yes, I thought I made that clear." Which maybe she did. I thought it was just an episode and we could at least talk. Later that week, I went to pick up the rest of my things and sent a text saying I left my keys on the counter. She said she was getting the locks changed anyways. I've known this woman for nearly 3 years and all of this along the way is new. She was always communicative and rarely hostile. She might pout or be aggressive, but this felt like a full-blown tantrum. She was seething like a feral animal or something. She was completely unapologetic and calculatingly cold in a way she'd never been before. A few weeks later, after moving into my own apartment, I found out that she was already seeing someone new. I don't know if she started seeing him while we were together. It wouldn't shock me. At some point in the last year, she stopped respecting me, and when I think back, there were probably signs before the surgery. Maybe even wanting to get the surgery. I don't know. The whole thing feels like such a blur. I think I may have been in denial for a while. Maybe I'm just telling myself that now to feel better about it. I have not heard from her in weeks and I have not tried to contact her on my end either. I did receive a missed call from her in the middle of the night about a week ago, but there was no message or text and I didn't bother following up to see what she wanted. I'm not ready to speak with her again. I don't know when or if I'll ever be. The last couple of weeks with her and after the big blow up were the worst days of my life. I've never felt so meaningless or disregarded, and she was the person who I trusted the most in the world. At one point. Anyway, sorry this isn't more positive update, but a few people had asked. I would have posted it sooner, but it's taken me a while to be comfortable talking about what happened. I still get upset thinking about it. I'm hoping writing it out would help, but honestly I'm just sad and upset again right now. Fortunately, I have my whole life ahead of me, and I am fortunate in that I still have plenty going for me. I definitely feel more cynical now than I did before, which sucks. Hoping that passes. Now, what do you guys make of this situation? How would you have dealt with it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. And after that story, I gotta say, I felt a bit flat afterwards because, it didn't end well, which is obviously very unfortunate. But someone sent me this post over on Twitter. I won't say your name as requested, but it's a little pick me up from That's Radbro, who says, gotta share a surprise here so I don't spill the beans. So it starts off, I'm so excited, you guys. I'm a single mum of 2 kids, 12 and 14, and we live comfortably but frugally in a 2-bedroom apartment. When we moved to this apartment last year, they made the choice to donate their childhood toys and things as they were getting older. Since then, their room has been plain and boring. I wanted them to have a cool teenager bedroom. I just got done ordering everything to completely redo the room. Beds, mattresses, end tables, a mini fridge for each of them, a TV stand and a TV, a record player, curtains, sheer and blackout, LED lights to line the room, LED lights for behind the TV, new bedding, window film for their windows, which will make little prisms of rainbows when the sun comes through. More detailed things that I'm forgetting in this moment. When they go to their dad's for the weekend in a few weeks, I'm having everything delivered and I'll be setting it up all weekend. And when they come home, I'm going to tell them they need to go tidy up their bedrooms and I can't wait to see their faces. Doing things like this takes a lot of time, saving, planning, etc. And it's so hard to do as a single parent. And I'm just so happy right now. I can't even find the words for it. I feel like I might burst. They are the best people I know, truly, and the easiest, most fun kids to raise, and they deserve a space to feel proud of, and they can relax and have fun in. I hope they love it and have all their friends over tons this summer. I'm terrible at keeping secrets, so thanks for letting me shout into the void. Edit. Wow. I did not expect any kind of traction on this. I'm touched for all the support, cheers, well wishes, advice, and the stories shared. I've probably cried happy tears 17 times now. Thank you so much. This truly is the friendliest side of Reddit. I'll definitely do an update. It'll be up to the kids if they feel comfy with any kind of pictures or videos posted at all or without their faces, so I can't promise that. But at the very least, I shall do a text update. It's a lonely road being a single parent, so often you look around during any kind of defining moment, small or big, for someone to share it with, and it's just you. And we do alright, the 3 of us, but there's just something about another adult in your corner saying, I see this, I see you, and I got that tonight, 100-fold. My heart is full, so again, thank you everyone. And the update says, I made this post 2 weeks ago today, venting my secret surprise so I didn't spill the beans to my kids. I didn't really expect much traction. I thought it'd be nice to shout into the void, get it off my chest, maybe have a brief chat in the comment section and move on. The well wishes, cheers and stories shared, encouragement and support were so touching and heartwarming, and I don't really have words to tell you all how much that meant to me. Thank you again. Many folks requested an update, a video, some photos. I understand wanting to see those things. We've gotten so used to, I don't know, looking into each other's windows. Our culture is quite social and open in a way we have never been before. There are so many positives to that. But my children and I are still pretty private people who value keeping our little corner of the world to ourselves. So there won't be any videos. However, I took a few photos of the final result prior to them putting all their games, treasures, knickknacks, etc. out, as well as a few bonus pics of my boss supervising me putting everything together. I'll link it at the end of the post. So, on to the update. It was a long and hard weekend, my friends. I planned this out pretty solidly with my heart and not so much logically, lol. I didn't sleep much. I had to give myself a good couple of pep talks for motivation. I estimated that both beds would take me 3-ish hours. They each took 6. And then the LED lights I ordered were trash and I had to buy more. And the cat kept roosting on my nuts and bolts and things and spreading them out everywhere. And then the bedding got stuck in the washer at the laundromat. But by some unholy power, I powered through and completed it. I finished at about 3 PM on Sunday. I was due to pick them up at 5 PM, so I went on a drive to shake off the relentlessness and keep myself awake. I drove around to some of the old apartments we used to live in. The old apartment by Bare Naked Ladies, anyone? Whew, brings me to tears. And just reflected on where we've been, where we are now. It was cathartic. When I picked them up, it took everything in me to keep a straight face. I had to tell them stupid dad jokes as a cover for how giggly I was. We stopped at the gas station and I bought them each a 12-pack of pop. They were like, "Wow mum, thanks, what's this for?" And I said it's on sale and I have a couple of bucks, no worries. At this point I am so antsy to get home. On the way home, my older daughter said something about wanting to get into vinyl and I almost died. Anyway, we got home and I did the whole, "Hey, before we do anything else, the bedroom needs to be tidied a bit. Come down the hallway with me and I'll show you what needs to be done." At this point, I had my phone recording. Oh god, I'm excited myself. That point, I've watched the video 3 times and I have tears every time. They screamed, their jaws dropped. They said, "Oh mum, oh my god, what the bleep?" They hugged me and kept touching everything. And they both said it was their dream bedroom. We were all laughing and tearing up pretty bad. They didn't even notice the mini fridges at first. I said, "Hey, go get your 12-pack so you can fill up your fridges, lol." And when my older daughter saw the record player, she was blown away as she had just mentioned it to me in the car. Anyway, it was such a cool moment. Thank you to everyone who recommended that I record it. I'm so glad I have that in my memories now. I don't have any before photos to share. I did take some, because of course their bedroom had all their personal belongings in it still. Imagine 2 ugly brown wood bed frames, clothes and games, stuffed animals and nothing else really. My boss supervising me. The room all put together before adding their personal things to it. Anyway, thanks again for all the kindness everyone. It really meant so much to me. Oh, just set me off there, please. And of course we have the pictures of the rooms that were supplied as well before they put all their knickknacks and stuff, as mum explained, and the cheeky supervising cat. But I just got to say, well done mum in this situation. I love a story like this once in a while. That just shows all the love and support mum has given to her children and the love that they shared back once they saw their rooms. I think is absolutely fantastic and overjoyed with that. That's made me smile, that's made me cry all at the same time. But what do you guys make of this situation? Absolutely love that one at the end there. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories. Your comments, love, time and support all means the absolute world to me. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one. Take care guys, much love.
Yeah, man, I remember being so naive when life was good, weather and palm trees. Back in the day, you were everything I need. But then along came a time when you crushed my dreams. Oh yeah, you played me like a fool when you made me believe that the line between love wasn't thick enough to read. Oh yeah, you see we in despair, crime everywhere. You're selling false hope cause you just don't care. Nah, you just don't care. Nah, you just